Hello and welcome back to my knitting podcast. This is episode 20, which is crazy. I've been doing knitting podcasts for about 20 months now, and I think I've got a fun episode ahead. I've got a few finished objects to talk about, a few whips, one knitting whip, and then a few other whips, and then surprising amount of acquisitions given that I've spent $0. And so for finished objects, last time I talked to you all, I had been working on 2 sample knits. I'd finished the duotone and was working on the westward during my last episode, and I couldn't show them because they were sample knits and the yarn was secret, but they've both now been shown and revealed, so I'll have pictures of those 2 up. They were sample knits for Explore Knits, who I work for, but actually when I started sample knitting, I hadn't worked for them yet. And for their middle of the map collection, which shows a bunch of yarn, or is yarn inspired by 3 different regions of the United States. There's a New York little collection, there's a Colorado collection, which is where I'm based and where Explore Knits is based, and then there's a Seattle collection. And so I ended up sample knitting one with the color Snoqualamie and the colorway Central Park Bench. I was holding Snoqualamie on Denali sock, which is fingering weight, Central Park Bench on Suri to make the duotone. So there'll be a picture of that, and it was really fun. And then I also sample knit the Westward, which was a Colorado one. So I was holding the colorway Rocky Mountain High on both Rockies DK and Suri with the colorway Bluebird Day on Rockies DK and Suri. And so here are the pictures finally. They were both such fun sample knits. I really love getting to work with Explore Knits. Obviously, I work there, dyeing yarn now. But yeah, super fun, and I'm excited to finally actually get to show you guys that I worked on those because they took up a lot of time and severely limited what I could talk about in this format. So, okay, there we go. Those are those ones that are less exciting because I don't have them. And then once I finished those, I had a test knit, which I very rarely have now because I just feel like I'm always doing a sample knit or always designing something, so I very rarely sign up for test knits, but this one really caught my eye, and I think it was a whip in the last episode, maybe not, but whatever. This is the Ambler quilt hat, which is available now. I test knit it, and it came out, I think, April 20th, so last week, and it is obviously quilt blocks on a hat. It's stunning, beautiful. This is by Katrin Seeberger, who also did the heirloom quilt cardigan, that's the name of it, and I love it. I love it. I'm so excited to have a quilt inspired motif in my knit wardrobe. It's so fun, and I knit this with my it's fingering weight. I knit it with the avocado yarn that I dyed, so it's the what's the base? I'll have the information down below, but it was a Knit Picks bare yarn base. I think it was called Capretta. I know that it was merino wool, a little bit of cashmere, and maybe a little bit of silk, but it was mostly like a merino wool, and I dyed it with avocado pits and skins. I have a whole vlog about that, so I'll probably put something up here if you want to watch that vlog. But here's that avocado color, and then just so soft. And then I held it with this colorway here, which was from Salty Blonde Fine Fibers. I used it in a sample knit like 1.5 years ago, and it was the color Dazzling Creature from her Jane Austen Book Club collection. And yeah, they look stunning together. It's great. Let me take down my hair so I can show you the hat, because this is my fault. I want to preface this. This is my fault. Stunning hat, stunning yarns, tight on me. And it is tight on me because I was a very bad knitter. Oh my god, my bangs look crazy in this, but here. It's a little tight on me. The top of the hat actually fits perfectly. Like, it's just the brim that's tight. And so I chose to knit the youth size. That's what I applied for because I have a pretty small head, and the youth size would fit really well if my gauge were correct, because my gauge is a little off. It's a little small. And I thought it was going to be fine because at first, like, I knit the inside of the brim. The way this hat is constructed, you knit, just stockinette for a while for the inside of your brim, and then you knit your color work, and then you fold down this brim and you sew it together. And before I'd done that, before I'd sewn it, I tried on that little section and was like, yeah, I still have some room, it'll be fine, because like I haven't blocked it, and yeah, we're good, like it's gonna fit. And then I sewed down the brim and it suddenly got a lot tighter, and then I literally could not try it on while I was knitting it, and then I blocked this so extremely, like on a balloon. And now here we are where I can get it on. Like it does fit in that sense, but I feel like it makes my hair look a little funny because it's like so tight and then foofs. And I'm very aware of it, like on my ears. The top of the hat fits great. Like literally without the brim, this hat would fit great. And so my friend Leah, she actually fits the hat. So I'm gonna give it to her, and I'm gonna make another version because I want this hat. I love these colors. I'm sad that this version isn't gonna be mine, although I have enough of both of the yarns to make it again. So Leah and I could have matching hats. But I kind of want to try like a variegated. I might still stick with using the avocado yarn, but maybe do like a variegated for the other color. So yeah, I want to try this again, and I'm actually going to size up on the brim to knit the adult small brim, and then I can size back down to do the youth on the rest of the hat. So I want to do that. I have it in my queue. We'll see when I do it. This was a really quick project though. It took me like a week and a half maybe. I love color work. Hats are quick, so it really was quite painless to knit. So I definitely would enjoy knitting it again, and would want another one of these that fits well, because I like the idea of a color work hat. It feels very warm and it really hugs your head, and it has a lot more stability to it than other hats that I've knit before that are just like ribbed or stockinette. So I do want to make it again, but I want it to be like the perfect hat for me. And so I'm excited for Leah to enjoy this one. She tried it on last week. We have dinner like every Tuesday, or Monday or Tuesday. And so she tried it on then and was like, oh yeah, this is great. And like was trying to leave with it that night. And I was like, no, I need to show it. And then, so tomorrow she'll get it. But yeah, I think that it's a really nice hat. It's a great pattern. This is my fault. The gauge was wrong. My gauge was wrong. So I'm excited to knit this again and get to wear it. And I definitely want to use my avocado yarn again as the main color, because I like it in a hat and I like it in color work. And it's so soft. This yarn is so soft. So yeah, that's the Ambler quilt hat. Highly recommend you check it out yourself. It's a really great pattern, like really fun, really well thought out, and so cool. And my final finished object is like maybe not all the way finished. Let me show you. Well, I'll hold it up first. So this is the olive cardigan. So here's the other side, the front. It is a cardigan. It's like a V-neck. I think this is specifically the olive V-neck cardigan. It's patterned by Knitting for Olive, or Pernille Larsen, who designs for Knitting for Olive, and has this beautiful kind of leaf stitch. It looks like a lace. It's not. It's just like increases and decreases to shape things. There's no like yarn overs or anything. And it's stunning. Beautiful, beautiful piece. I knit this out of Explore Knits and Fibers Earthy sock and Suri alpaca lace, both in the colorway Docile. I'd had this in my stash for like a year and a half. This was on my spring knitting plans, and it's on my bingo card to use that yarn, so I've used it. And so I knit it out of that, and stunning. Like, it's almost luminous. Like, I love this color. I love the stitch pattern. I feel like the combination of them is just perfect. And I blocked it last night. And so this morning, I'll insert a picture. I blocked it on my blocking mats last night, and then it was still slightly damp this morning, and I wanted to film today and I wanted to show this. And so I have this kind of mesh thing that, like, it's kind of an extra lay flat surface for when I'm doing laundry. And it just has like a carabiner on the top that you can clip it to something, and then it's got like 2 levels of mesh. And I clipped it to my ceiling fan in my office, turned on the ceiling fan, and then laid the sweater over the mesh so that it would dry the rest of the way, and it worked really well. So I'm really excited about this innovation that now will really improve my blocking, because I wanted it to lay flat for a while. So I let it do that overnight, but then once it was mostly dry and not going to stretch out too much, it was really nice to be able to put it up there and also get it away from my kitty cats, because Kepler specifically really loves sitting on wet wool, and so he often like bunches up something in my sweater while I'm blocking it, and there's really nowhere I can put my blocking knits where he can't get to them, because my office is kind of their favorite space in the house, especially Figs. She loves to sit under the couch I'm on, because there's a heating vent under there, so that's where she sleeps pretty much. And they love to look out the window in here. It's one of their favorite spaces. I always feel bad when I have to close the door, and I also technically can't close the door all the way because I have like hooks on the door that kind of limit it closing all the way. So for all of those reasons, and I could put my blocking knits in my closet, but there's really no circulation in there, and so things take forever to dry, and I can feel the humidity in the space when I try to do that. And so yeah, they end up messing with them, so it was really nice to be able to like put it up high where they couldn't get it. And so I'm excited about that innovation going forward. So yeah, this is fresh off the blocking mats. I still need to put buttons on, but let me show it to you on. So here we go. Okay, so here it is on. Maybe I'll take a little video of me standing up with it so you can see the full thing, because there are a few issues. I think they're all fixable, but there are definitely some issues. So the first thing is look how long the sleeves are. Like these are kind of balloon sleeves. Why couldn't I think of that? These are balloon sleeves, and so normally I don't mind a longer sleeve because I like the way they look scrunched up, but with a balloon sleeve, I kind of hate the scrunched up look, especially they always want to like scrunch at the elbow. And so they're definitely too long. Like that's, this is me fully stretching out my arm too. Like when I'm just kind of going through the world, I feel like they are gonna bunch up way too much. Like it's on my palm right now, and it still is like folding. I don't know, part of that's like my arm's bent, but they're definitely long. Like they're long sleeves. Like it's over my thumb, and they're still, I'm not like pulling on it at all, and it's over my thumb. And so I feel like almost the entire ribbing, like that's how much I need to take out of the sleeve, which is honestly good, because the other issue, I don't know if you notice. Wow, you really can't tell on camera. In person, it's pretty noticeable. Can you tell? Maybe barely, but I don't know if you could see it. But I actually ran out of Suri as I was getting to the ribbing. And I happened to be at a yarn store, which was My Sister Knits, which is up in Fort Collins. I was there for a local yarn store day. I spent a little bit of time there knitting. I wasn't planning on buying anything, but then I was knitting and realized like, oh, I'm gonna run out of Suri on my last bit of the sleeve. And so I kind of searched the whole store to find a similar enough yarn. Okay, yeah, you can really tell from back here. To find a similar enough color, and I found Midnut Soul, which is a Camarose yarn or Camarosa yarn in the colorway Midnut. In the base, Midnut Soul, in the colorway Gragron, which I felt like was pretty close. Like, I don't know, you can kind of see that they're different, but not too bad. You can feel they're different. Like the Suri is a lot fuzzier than Midnut Soul. And so, yeah, but I was like, I don't yes, I work at Explorer Knits and I could like beg one of my coworkers to dye up some of the colorway Docile for me, but we're in the middle of a pre-order and dyeing all that yarn, and also I need 5 grams. I don't need 50 grams of the yarn, and so I decided like, okay, let's just choose a similar enough color, then I can get 25 grams of it. It's not that big of a deal, but I do kind of hate it. Yeah, you can tell from farther away that this cuff is different than everything else. And so, yeah. But now that my sleeve is way too long, I think that I will actually go back in to the sleeves. I might like cut this one and then I'll probably frog this one. Go back, take off the cuff and take out like, it's technically a 24 stitch repeat for these, but I don't think I need to take 24 stitches out. I think if I take 12, which is like half a repeat, we could also end nicely there, and that would be like that, or 12 rows, I should say. So I could take out about, yeah, that much, which I think would be fine. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go in and do that, and then I will just redo my ribbing. So, well, this is kind of a finished object, and I was like super excited to show it as a finished object. It's not quite finished. The other thing that's interesting about this piece is the button band, and I found this on other button band cardigans before, where like the weight of the button band will kind of make it V at the front a little bit, and this one is no exception. So here, let me just stand up maybe. I'm not wearing pajama pants. It looks like it, but I'm not. These are just comfy linen pants, okay? Okay, so yeah, do you see how it's like Ving down a little bit here? And so that's just kind of inevitable on these. I think I can like kind of adjust it and pull it down a little bit further in the back, and then it doesn't matter as much. And once it's buttoned, you won't be able to see that, but yeah. Kind of a disappointing try on this morning where I was like, oh, the sleeves are too long, and it is definitely veering down. But it's honestly kind of good that the sleeves are too long because I can fix this. I did then buy a ball of midnut sole for no reason, but it was like $8, and it was local yarn store day, so it was nice to make a yarn store purchase. So yes, technically not a finished object anymore because I need to go back in, make the arm shorter. And then for buttons, you may have noticed there's no buttonholes. And the reason there's no buttonholes is because I'm gonna do snaps on this one. So I don't know, I honestly didn't feel like choosing buttons, and then I didn't feel like making buttonholes. And so I just got a 4-pack of these snaps where you sew them on either side and they just snap together instead of having buttons. So I will be attaching those probably once I do the arm surgery and reblock that. So there we go, semi-finished object. I guess I can just leave it on for the rest of the video. So yeah, it is really cute. I have realized that I really gravitate towards its color. I think I always in my head think like, oh, I wear so much pink, and pink's definitely one of my favorite colors. I'm looking at the acquisition yarn and you'll see, and like this hat, there's a lot of pink currently around me as well. Like pink is definitely like pink is one of my favorite colors, and I use a lot of pink, but I never think of myself as like really liking these. I know I like these green blue colors, but it's never like, oh, I wear that a lot or it's my favorite thing. But I actually gravitate towards this color a lot. Like my clip that I had was also this color. I was wearing a shirt at work the other day that was this color. Like I have a lot of this color, so that's a really interesting thing that I just never noticed, but I'm kind of glad I did, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I have like multiple knits kind of around this color too, so interesting. Oh yeah, this pillow right here is like that color too, so clearly I like this color a lot, but it's funny like what you just don't notice. So okay, those are my finished objects, And then for whips, I have one knitting whip. Well, kind of two. Yeah, I have like two knitting whips, but one's not actively on the needles, and then I have a spinning whip. And so we'll start with the not on the needles whip because I worked on it first, and I love chronological order. So I talked about this in my last podcast because I'd gotten the yarn for it, but I swatched for my spilled soup sweater. This is such a funny little swatch. There will be a whole project vlog about coming up with this design and working on it, making my first sample. But yeah, I'm showing it here as well. I did swatch. You can see, here's the little mushroom. Here is the carrot, which the line here is because I was working magic loop. So ignore that. And then here is the butternut squash. And so I did have to kind of scale everything up a little bit and change the placement. I also feel like the carrot looks more like a little pepper than it does a carrot. And so I kind of redesigned the carrot to be longer and skinnier and also not filled in, and to make the top of the carrot a little bushier. And then, yeah, everything's a little bit bigger. And so that will, I was able to redesign it, but you can kind of see the little swatch. Isn't it so cute? And so this is with Salty Blonde's yarn, Salty Blonde Fine Fibers. The colorways, the base is Dulce fingering. It's like it's a superwash yarn, and it's a high micron, or a lower micron. I think it's like 20 microns, which is super soft. It's a super soft superwash fingering base. It's just 100% superwash. There's no nylon or anything in it. Super nice base. And the colorways are, I know that the green here is Chartreuse with Envy, and then I think the other one, it has truffles, something with truffles in it. I should know this. Being a bad podcaster, I will have the information down below, as always, but beautiful, beautiful colorways, beautiful yarn. The way this knits up is just, it's so soft. I wish you could feel this. And it's like so plump, and it's 100% superwash, but it really doesn't like stretch out or get weird like superwash yarn often does. Like, it just feels nice and soft and easy to work with. Like, I'm doing color work with it, and I was worried of like, other colors showing through or having it be gappy, and it just really is not. Like, it feels really high quality. Love this yarn. It was given to me, Ryan from Salty Blonde and I consider her a friend. I don't know if she'd consider me, but she's lovely. I love Ryan, and I presented this design to her, and I have a skein of her yarn in the color Soup, which inspired this whole sweater idea. And I was saying like, hey, I'd really love to knit this sweater out of your yarn. Do you want to work with me on it? So we're kind of working together. She gave me the yarn. I'm designing it. I'll talk to her about it. There will probably be kits in her yarn when this pattern comes out, hopefully in early September. So yeah, all that to say, love this yarn, but transparency, I didn't buy this yarn. But yeah, look at this little swatch. The butternut squash kills me. Like, I feel like the mushroom's pretty good. I think the second version of the mushroom's going to be better. The butternut squash, stunning. So yeah, I'm really excited to start working on this sweater. I want to finish my spring knits, and then I will work on it. So it should be on the needles in the not too distant future. Although I also am probably doing like a sample or / commission knit for someone who reached out to me on Instagram a little while ago as well. So might not be, hopefully it's on the needles by the next episode, but it's probably not going to be finished. So there we go. And then I'll show you my next whip, which I actually cast on this morning and was kind of furiously knitting on, so I had enough to show you what the stitch pattern looked like. And so I'm knitting a little sock here. These are the Luna socks. They are in Summer Lee's sock project book. One of my knitting bingo things was knit a pattern from a book, and so this is knitting a pattern from a book. And so I've got this cute little pop of hot pink at the top, which is from Emma's Yarns. It's the color Shut the Front Door. I don't think it had a base associated. It just says that it's a 20-gram little mini skein. It's an 80-20 base though, so it's 80% superwash, 20% nylon. It's definitely a 2-ply. So I did a little pop of pink at the top, and then I am using Poppy and Spruce Fibers Spruce Sock in the colorway Bunny Slopes. And this yarn is inspired by me. She had a collection called Nostalgia Places, where she had people go submit different colorways or different memories associated with a place. And so I submitted a picture of three-ish-year-old me skiing, I think up in Winter Park, which is, you know, a mountain ski town up in Colorado. And it's a photo of me, I'll have the picture, but I'm surrounded by like snowy evergreens, so it's like kind of pine evergreen trees covered in snow, which is the kind of the green color here and the white. You know, we've got our trees and our snow, and then I'm wearing like a very 2000s, like very early 2000s snowsuit with a bunch of bright colors in these like purple, blue, and hot pinks. So super fun. I am so glad to finally be working with this yarn because I don't know, it was one of those, I got it, I think I ordered it back in like September or October and got it around then, and it's been sitting in my stash because I wanted to make it really special. And so I'm just glad to finally be working with it and using my special skeins, and I'm really loving the texture here. I wish I had more of the sock to show you, but it's an interesting texture. I don't know if it's like a special texture, so I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but it's kind of seed stitch. It's not, to me, I thought it was broken seed stitch, but it's not technically, because I think technically you need 2 colors for broken seed, but it's very fun. It's very easy to work out. It's like a texture 4-row repeat. This is the rib at the top, of course, and then, yeah, very fun. Yeah, I wanted something textured for this. I don't know why. I like textured sock, and I like the way it feels. I'm excited to wear these because they've got a nice like feel to them. I don't know. So yeah, been working on those since this morning. And then my final whip right now is a spinning one. So in my last podcast, I showed an acquisition of an e-spinner, and I finished my first bobbin. So this is the bobbin. This is a 100% Polworth fiber. I don't remember if it had a colorway name or if it's just this pinky color. I'll have information down below if it did have a colorway name, but it's from the shop Jakira Farms. I'd found them on Etsy like a year and a half ago when I got into drop spindling, and then I finally spun up the rest of my 4-ounce braid onto this guy. And the reason it's still a whip is because I only spun, I didn't feel like dividing my fiber quantity. I just wanted to spin it. And so I only have 1 bobbin here. When to ply, like doing a normal 2-ply, which I've done before, you'd need 2 bobbins. But I only have 1 bobbin because I just was like, I'll figure it out later. Let's just spin it all. And I can figure it out. I'm going to chain ply it. But chain plying feels really intimidating. I tried it once and I couldn't immediately get the motion down of like, basically when you're chain plying, you have to pull loops and then you're spinning it the other direction to twist it together. So you're basically making a 3-ply by folding the yarn or the fiber over on itself. And I tried for a second on it, and then I wasn't holding my tension enough, so the yarn or the fiber, like when you're not holding tension on it, the twist kind of goes away and then the fiber breaks. And so I broke off a little bit of fiber, and then I was like, I'll figure this out later. And then I haven't touched it since because I got stressed. So my goal this week is to chain ply this. And so hopefully you will see it soon because I would really love to show off this yarn, but it is really beautiful just on here. Like, I'm really excited for it. And I'm excited to learn how to chain ply because I think it'll be a nice skill to have in my back pocket, but still working on it. So yeah, that's this guy. Kind of a whip. I mean, the spinning's done. It's just plying now, but still technically a whip. And now we have a lot of yarn. And I want to preface by saying for acquisitions, I didn't buy any of this month. I haven't spent money on any yarn. Okay? I'm still on a yarn ban. I haven't bought any of this. But there is a lot in front of me, so we're just gonna go through. I guess let me just show you everything and then we'll talk about it all. Okay, it's physically impossible for me to hold all of the yarn, but here's just a sampling of what I've got going on. Like, I didn't buy any of this, but I'm making it very hard for myself to meet my goal of having less yarn. Or getting my stash below 5,000 grams is seeming less and less possible by the day. So here we go. I'm just gonna show you. Let's start with this yarn. I'm also trying to sort it. So starting off with the yarn, I bought this yarn. Well, this yarn was actually sample knit compensation back in September of last year. I ordered this in September of last year after sample knitting for Paisley Knits. This was my compensation, or part of it. I had to buy one of the skeins, but I forget how much compensation, but I've ended up with 4 skeins of this yarn. And so this is by Paisley Knits. It was from her Eras Tour collection, which she's actually doing another round of with new colorways as well. But this is what I got when I sample knit for her. Paisley Knits and Fiber. This is her base Cloud. It's a bulky weight, but it's a spun yarn or a blown yarn. Here's like one strand of it. So you could definitely knit it up at kind of a tighter gauge and it would work as well. And the colorway is the Archer, and I got 4 of them. And so I want to make a Snowy Forest sweater out of this, which is a pattern by Midori Hirose. And so here's a picture of it. This was actually this yarn I wanted to use for the Opposites Track Knit Along, which is now ended. It ended in February. And so I got my yarn in like early April after it ended. So it was a little off. But I'm still really excited for that plan. I think it'll be really fun to have like a bright pink cabled sweater. So I'm gonna do that. And yeah, this is a really cool yarn. So it's bulky weight. You get 284 yards per 100 grams. So it's honestly like a good deal of yarn because, you know, with 4 skeins, I'm going to be able to knit a whole sweater because it's so lightweight. And so I'm expecting this to be super, super warm. I know it's going to be like so warm because it's this blown yarn that's just very grippy. I'm going to knit it in the summer just because I feel like this is going to be a fun color to knit in the summer, and I'm not really feeling summer garments this year. So I'm just going to like focus on making fun things for the winter. So I'm going to knit this up probably in the summer, but yeah, it's going to be like a dead of winter, like gloomy January, February kind of sweater. So I'm very excited for that. So yes, got that one. And then I have, this sweater quantity of yarn from Explorer Knits. This is in the colorway Linen. Here's that. And so I've got 3 of the Suri and 3 of the Denali sock, and they're in the colorway Linen. This was sample knit compensation, and so I sample knit the duotone and the Westward and got this plus this skein. And I will be making a design out of these. So I've got this nice, really beigey, neutral color that I'm dropping everywhere. It's neutral linen color, and I actually got to dye this one. Some of the Suri. I got to like help dye this Suri. I didn't do it all on my own, but I got to help do it, which was so fun. And then I will be using this as kind of like a contrast color. This is in the cashmere sock base from Explore Knits and Fibers, and in the colorway Sagrada Familia. So pretty, so fun. So these will go together. And then still sample knit compensation, I also got a sweater quantity in the same bases. So Denali sock, Suri alpaca, in the colorway Woodruff. And with these, I got also these other two purples. This I think is Balsamico, and this, I don't know. They were both in the Leave No Trace room, which is like the oopsie skeins. So these have some imperfections. You can kind of see like there's a little bit of like, just, there's too much color variety for a tonal. Like there's definitely some lighter sections here. And this one, I don't know, probably similar, but I only need to use a small amount. And so I got these two, and then I have some other purples to make another to be contrast colors again to this color. So those are both for the same design that I've been kind of playing with, but it's kind of lower on the back burner, so I'll talk about it more later. But I did get those two sweater quantities for samples for that. And then also at work, I love working at a yarn dyer because everyone who works there, or pretty much everyone who works there, knits and loves yarn. And so we just have a bin of yarn at the front, like in kind of our break area where we eat lunch, where people just bring in yarn they no longer want. And so I picked up two skeins from coworkers who didn't want these anymore. I actually don't know which one of my coworkers left these, and I don't know where they're from or what they are, but here's one. This is a cake. It's definitely a sock yarn. I think it's a 2-ply sock yarn. If I had to guess, it kind of looks like something from Olivia and Oliver Fibers, but I really don't know. It could be from any dyer, but it's, you know, primarily beige neutral with like more kind of speckles almost of like dark green. There's some orange in there. There's some red. It's just a fun cake that I'm going to use for socks at some point. And then I also got a little mini skein of this really fun colorway. I don't know what the colorway is. I don't know who it's from. I think it's also a 2-ply sock yarn. Don't know, but it's very pretty. And then finally, at work, when I was winding boucle, boucle is very, very fragile. It's like got a silk core, and then it's kind of got like fibers woven throughout, and it's a very thin silk core. And sometimes it snaps when you wind it, and we cannot sell snapped yarn. We can't sell broken yarn. And so this skein snapped. You can see just like a little end hanging out in here. So at some point I'll have to deal with that. Yeah, here's the other one, like just broke mid-winding. And so if they break while you're winding them, can't sell it. If you want it, you can have it. And so I got to take this yarn home and I'm really excited. This is boucle base from Explore Knits and Fibers. I promise I'm not just gonna now knit with and buy Explore Knits. Like I still want to knit from other yarn brands, but clearly I work there, okay? I get a good discount. I sample knit for them. I get good sample knitting yarn, and I'm gonna end up with random skeins from Explore Knits. So I'm sorry if that bothers you. But so yeah, this is Explore Knits. It's the colorway Rain Shadows, which is part of the Middle of the Map collection. I think it's been available before. It's the Seattle. It's one of the Seattle colorways, and it's so pretty. Clearly, I love this color. I mean, this is like kind of different, but clearly I love a bluish green in a lighter tone. So yeah, I'm kind of brainstorming. I probably am going to end up buying more of this boucle because I don't really know what to do with like just one skein of boucle. If you have ideas, let me know, but probably will purchase more. So yeah, that's kind of a lot of acquisitions. I'm sorry. And then not technically, it was an acquisition. The Midnight Soul that I had to use on this cuff was also an acquisition. That's actually the only yarn purchase I've made. And I'm not counting it in the yarn ban because I needed it at the time. And I feel like part of my parameters for a yarn ban are always like, if I need to buy yarn to use up other yarn, then I'll do that. And I wasn't also going to leave a sweater like 97% finished and just need Suri for the cuff. And so there we are. Was it now dumb looking back to buy that because I don't actually need it because the sleeves grew out more than I thought? Yeah, but I didn't know that at the time, so it's fine. And then I did also buy these snaps, which I've already shown for this cardigan. They are an acquisition, but I feel like that's more of like a, I don't know, tool than like a purchase. I don't know. I still bought them. I bought these as well. And so those are my acquisitions. And then I've really been slacking on the inspirations for the past few months. Like, I don't know, I was talking my knitting, I did a knit and chat last week and I was talking of like feeling slightly overwhelmed, and feeling a little less creative, especially when it comes to making videos. And I'm just engaging a little bit less right now with Instagram and YouTube. Like I feel like I have less time to watch things. I'm listening to a lot more and trying to focus more on kind of my own making and my own projects. So I don't have any inspirations for this month either. I'm sorry. If you really love the inspiration section, please let me know that, because I've enjoyed doing it in the past and I'm like, oh, like, I don't know if anyone else cares, and so it's easier to let go of. But if you really enjoy that section of the video of my podcast, like, please let me know, because I can, be more intentional and try to really like prioritize finding inspirations if you want me to. So let me know that. But yeah, sorry, nothing this month. And then on my bingo board, I did check off 2 squares. I checked off the Use Explore Knits yarn, which was the Docile colorway. So I've used this yarn. Yay! And my other one was Knit a Pattern from a Book, which these socks are from the Sock Project book by Summerlee. So very happy with that progress. I also think that I will check off, finish all of the season's knitting plans. I am on my 2nd of 3rd knitting plans right now. So this was for spring knitting plans. This was plan 2. This was plan 1. And then I just want to reknit my Friday slipover. And so hopefully next podcast, I will be able to share all of my finished spring knitting plans. But I can't check off that square yet, even though I'm almost there. But not yet. So next podcast, hopefully I'll be able to say, yeah, I did that too. So, yeah. And then, I just read the book Quicksilver. I listened to it and I really enjoyed it. It reminded me a lot of A Court of Mist and Fury, which I love. That was one of my favorite books. It's from the ACOTAR, or A Court of Thorns and Roses series. Quicksilver was really good. It's like slightly... it's definitely very tropey. Like, there were definitely a lot of tropes in it. It's a romantasy book too, so if you are not into romantasy, maybe not for you. And it was definitely very tropey at points, but I still really enjoyed it. I love a trope. I don't know. I love like a shadow, like it's another like shadow boy, like human girl falls in love with fae man who has shadow power kind of book. I eat those up, but it's definitely tropey. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed that. And then this is media recommendations, by the way. And then I've been kind of re-listening to the Hunger Games series. I finished the first Hunger Games book, and then I actually think I'm going to go back and listen to Sunrise on the Reaping, which is the new book. Well, I'm going to listen to Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. I think that's what it's called, which is the President Snow book that I never actually listened to. So I'm going to listen to that. And then Sunrise on the Reaping, which is the story of Haymitch, who is like the mentor to Katniss and Peeta in the OG series, and so I'm gonna go back and listen to those two, and then I will listen to Catching Fire and Mockingjay. And those books are so good. Like, I hadn't read them since middle school, but listening to the first one, I was like, this really stands up. This is actually really good. So I'm really excited to be listening to them again. Highly recommend if you've never read them. They're actually quite good. Like, even as a 25-year-old, I'm enjoying them. They're dystopian. They're set in dystopian North America, like after, I don't know, we never know what happens. But it's like a new country has been set up where North America used to be. And so very kind of dystopian, very, very good though. I really enjoy it. So yeah, I guess that's it. I'm just staring at my mountain of yarn. It's crazy that I have not made a yarn purchase, except for the Midnight Soul. But otherwise, I didn't make a yarn purchase, and it's kind of scary how much yarn you can acquire without purchasing it if you just know the right people. Well, I did buy this. I bought I sample knit for it. So, you know, it's mostly compensation. It's like I bought it with labor, but it is a lot of yarn. So, okay. I'm definitely rambling now. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. I always appreciate you being here. If you've stayed this long, let me know what you're working on. If you're knitting during this video, what were you making? And I think that's it. I will see you again next week. I'm not sure what we'll talk about next week, but I will see you again soon. And XOXO. Bye! Happy knitting!